Extraordinary Startups. Can't believe it, but this is actually episode 14, Naren. And a lot of
Okay.
and a lot of the startup founders have been from NASCOM as well. So Parul from Aerologics was there, Sunil Jukebox. So quite a few folks. So it's going to be a fun conversation, and it's
Yeah.
and you have been a friend. We have caught up so many times, so it'll be an interesting and nice discussion. Okay.
Hey, sure.
So
Yes.
yeah, so fantastic. So kickstarting. Good morning, or rather, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode 14 of League of Extraordinary Startups. This is Vijeta here. I'm from the type Bangalore, and Naren. I am here, co-founder, CEO, one of the rock stars of the community with some very interesting work that he has been doing. Right, Naren? So without much further ado, we're going to be talking about innovation, about your music career, about how you've been growing. And let's kickstart, Naren. A few words about yourself and what keeps you ticking.
Okay, sure. So I did my engineering in BITS Pilani 17, 18 years back now. Then I spent 7 years at Cisco, both in India and the US. Then came back, went to ISB, completed my MBA. Then I joined Schneider Electric to head the strategy and business development for a new business unit there. And in fact, that is where I first got a stint of starting something from scratch. Right. So in Schneider, the brand was there, the company was there. We didn't have to build that from scratch, but the product and the whole business had to be built from scratch. It was about $10 million revenues by the time I moved out of Schneider post 3 years. Then I got the opportunity to be part of the founding team in an IoT command and control startup called Intel, so which is today clocking million and a half revenues. And 2 years back is when I started IamHere, along with a couple of contacts that I had from my BITS network, from my professional contacts. And today we are with 200,000 users, and I'm talking to you.
Fantastic. Very nice. 200,000 users is not too bad at all, Naren. That's a very, very good traction. And this is the BITS Pilani folks, right? So your college mates, you all came together. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes. So Deepa and I know each other from the college days. Post BITS, she spent time at Amazon, Redbus, Groupon, Zoomcar. She comes from a product background.
Mm-hmm.
And then Prateek is from our professional contacts. He's ex Nokia, Samsung, LG, and more recently headed technology in an internet security startup called Versec. So we were discussing around 2016-17 time frame, then slowly prototype, alpha, beta, V1, V2, V3. Right? That's been the journey.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting thing, right? From the biggest names in the corporate world to creating a social app startup. So that's very interesting. So wonderful, but Naren, and any regrets? It's going good for you?
Yes, definitely going good. Of course, the regret is could we have moved faster, or can we move faster today, right? But then it's always a chicken and egg problem, right? Okay, you need more users to have more money. You need more money to have more users, and you need a team, right? So it's all a chicken and egg thing. But I think there is no one way to solve it. Right? Every problem is unique, and every startup is unique. And everybody's life is unique as well.
Amazing, Naren. But you're here, you're smiling, means it's not too bad. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, not too bad. I won't regret, yeah.
So Naren, let's talk about a couple of specific things. Number one, I know that you have been part of the Elevate program. You applied for it, you got recognized, you won. So what did you do differently? Because there are hundreds of startups who every year apply for this. It's a fantastic program for those who are not aware of it. It's a Government of Karnataka initiative where they look to support startups all across Karnataka. So what was the way that you went about it? What was your strategy? How do you prepare as a team? You went through the entire process of interviews, etc. Right? So if you can just give a crisp outlay of that, it will be very helpful for the audience.
Sure. So Elevate, or for that matter, most of these government programs typically have a three-stage process. Sometimes probably four stage. One is the application stage. Then second is where you do round one of the presentation, and then there's probably a round two of the presentation. Right now, one thing that I observed that is common, not just in the VC, VC sponsored or VC initiated contest, but even at the government level, it's conducted very professionally. In the sense, in the jury, you will find a couple of people from the government, including IAS officers. Then there are a couple of people from the industry. There are a couple of VCs there. There are a couple of strong industrial consultants there as well. Right. So now the advantages that we had when we applied for Elevate in 2019 was that we already were in the market. We had about 75K users at that time. And we were also having our own bit of social impact. Right. We were enabling small businesses onto the IamHere platform and bringing them to mainstream search. We had just started out some engagement with the government to aggregate farmers across the state, to aggregate traditional businesses across the state. So those were some of the things. So we had a strong product, a good team. We had a decent initial traction, and we were already doing something on the social impact side, and we were only going upwards from there. And we were meeting all the milestones from there onwards as well. So I think that worked in favor.
Fantastic. So having a traction, a strong team, a clear product roadmap, meeting milestones. I think many times founders forget about that part, right? You commit to something, you have to show that you're moving towards the very core milestones. Awesome, awesome. So much of insights.
And if you don't meet the milestone, I will definitely not blame the founders or the startup. There are 100 reasons
Yes,
why
of
you
course,
meet
of
a
course.
milestone.
No, we will talk about that, right? What are the challenges? How do you pivot? How do you find that? But I want to also, okay, we talked about the Elevate program. Thank you for those wonderful insights. Now let us come to this fact. A very beautiful thing that has happened with your team and you is that the Atmanirbhar social app recognition that you've got. So tell us about that journey. How did you plan it? How did you go about it? How did you find out about it, etc., etc.?
Okay, sure. So Atmanirbhar now, that's what very, very interesting. All this have happened, I mean, not just for IamHere, in the country itself over the last, I would say, 2.5 months, right? When our Honorable PM made the announcement, I think early July, on this whole concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? Now people were ridiculing, and of course, people were welcoming. A lot of stuff happened. But then the follow-ups that happened, okay, Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is going to be conducted in 3 phases, 5 phases. First phase targeting small businesses, all the way up to agriculture, right? There was a clear roadmap. And then with all these tensions in the border, when these Chinese apps banned, this boycott Chinese apps was just a typical social media trend, like any other social media trend 1 month back. I would say today it's a movement, right? Everybody knows about it. People are uninstalling the apps, trying to give that room for Indian apps, Indian businesses, right? So what started as a small announcement and as a social media trend is today a movement, right? Now, we got to know about this Atmanirbhar because we are registered under the Startup India program, the DIP portals, etc. We got to know about it, and we thought, okay, let's put in the application. And when we were shortlisted, and we were told that we are one among the 7,000 startups to be shortlisted for jury for the round one of the presentation, where we had to show the live demo. That came as a surprise. Oh wow, 7,000 apps, and then they shortlisted probably 200, 300 for the jury. And then to finally be selected in the top 40 startups in the country under a special category award for community collaboration, that was, I would say, yeah, it was a team effort, and thanks to the jury and the program as well, that recognized the technology, the product, and of course the traction that we have been having, and the overall vision that we were going about. Hey Vijeta, sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, the Startup India portal is very viable and useful for all founders. I think there are more than 15 or 20,000 odd startups who have registered over there. So that's a good way to stay in touch with the ecosystem. What are the government schemes, etc., etc. Fantastic, fantastic.
Right.
Of course. And since you're part of NASCOM, you do understand. You will get a lot of insights from the startup cell of Karnataka. What is happening over there? What are the NASCOM initiatives? So these things help a lot.
Right. In fact, when we started up, I think in around 2018, when we were just setting our food, we were of course not at NASCOM at that time. I actually didn't know about Elevate, right? So that way, I think being in NASCOM helped. But I think now it's much better. In the last 2 years, the Karnataka Startup Cell is also doing an amazing job. I think they are reaching out to all TRI, of course, where you are part of is spreading the word. I think you just have to be in the right WhatsApp group or connected to the person who will give you that information, right? And I think hopefully someday we're all going to be in some central platform where we can all subscribe.
Yeah, so I have the crown of being the number one spammer in all these WhatsApp groups. No, but we have to do that. No, because even yesterday we had this in the regional Thai women group, of course with Thai Global and other people, for women entrepreneurs also, Nareen, because we believe that diversity is important. Women co-founders should get even more opportunity, because sometimes they're wonderful, but they're shy for whatever reason. So we want them to be in the forefront and getting as much opportunity as possible. So we talked about Atmanirbhar app, we talked about the Elevate program, we talked about all the various ecosystems, etc. Nareen, one part that you should talk about is your musical journey, your guitarist, your Agam, the beautiful Carnatic rock music band. Yeah. How did that come about? And I know that you're not having much time for it, but what's the plan around that, sir?
Okay, sure. So Agam was started by BITS Pilani graduates. We all used to be part of the music club in BITS, And then when we came out, we were just jamming together, doing a few events here and there for I think 2-3 years. Then around 2007, 2008 is when we participated in a reality show in one of the regional TV channels where A.R. Rahman was the judge. Right, so we won the first place there along with a team of 6 bands, and then we released an album, a cassette, a CD in those days, working under the label there. So that was the kind of break, and that is when we formally created this name called Agam at that time, because we had to give a name for the contest. Right, otherwise we were just this Pitspilani alumni music band, and from there it has been a phenomenal journey. And the beauty about music and all this, we'll be practicing at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., but then we would go back home very fresh. Right, so that's the music magic about music. So I still play guitar, but mostly at home these days, not able to give much time. And at some point, I want to rejoin Agam back, and join the wonderful journey. I think from the time I moved out to now, I think Agam is in the top 5, top 10 bands across the country.
Amazing music, boss. Amazing music. Have loved the live shows. Beautiful, inspiring, energizing stuff. So
Right.
touch wood, hope you can get back to this and don't stop practicing your guitar. Maybe one day we should host you on a guitar session, right? We should do this stressing stuff also sometimes. Okay,
Sure.
awesome.
Sure.
Hey, Naren, you said that you have a couple of things to showcase, right? Maybe you can do that. We'll show one of the videos first, okay? And then maybe a little bit later we'll move to the other one or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's loud and clear.
Okay. So let me
do the screen share and then you can
just do that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just a 30-second illustration of what we do at IamHere. Right, so that is what is IamHere. We are connecting people in their neighborhoods, in their communities for business, for hobby and social causes. So exactly like how the video said, I could be a guitarist, I could be a designer, I could be a book lover. And my book lover persona, or what we call as avatar, will connect to the book lover avatar of yours, and we can exchange books and read together. Right? Or I could be a guitarist, you could be a singer, I could be a designer, you could be an entrepreneur, or I could be an artist selling my artwork, and you could be an art lover. Right? So that is exactly what we are doing.
Fantastic. Hey, but Naren, how do you make money? What's the traction game that you're playing right now?
Sure. So there are two ways we've activated our revenue models. One, okay, now maybe let me just put some light to it. The basic problem that we are solving is technology today does a great job of connecting us with people across the globe. Right now, like people watching right now, right? They may be in any corner of the globe. But had, let's say, Vijayta, you and I have known somewhere, maybe in NASCOM, maybe in our friend network, but probably if you were my neighbor, there is actually that much less chance that I will know Vijayta as a person or you will know Naren as a person. Right now, what we are doing as part of this is also that we are onboarding the neighborhood businesses. Right, we call it the hyper-local marketplace, and we are giving a platform for these businesses to transact through the app, to place ads through the app. Right, and that is one part of our revenue model, a marketplace, a social commerce model. And then we also offer IamHere as a private social network for closed communities. So college communities, company communities, residential societies can use our app for an internal collaboration. And that is a subscription model. So per user, per month kind of. So there is a B2C model, which is a marketplace social commerce model, and a B2B2C, which is a subscription model.
Okay. Interesting. So that's how you gain your traction. So the situation that we are in right now, where so many restrictions, travel, this, that. So is it, and how are you playing your cards right now? Like how you to still gain traction, to still move forward? How does it work for you right now?
Okay, so the B2C is kind of, in fact, on a faster track compared to before, because we are connecting people in the neighborhood, and now the whole world has become neighborhood for everybody. Right, and we are digitizing the whole neighborhood transaction. So that way, since February, March, our numbers have doubled, our engagement has tripled. There's a 30%, 40% increase in our marketplace. interactions. So there are like last couple of weeks back, I hired a doorstep laptop services from the IamHere app, right? So there are farmers selling agricultural produce through the app. There are nutritionists, fitness trainers offering their services through the app. So this is short. On the B2C, it is more than doubled, I would say, in terms of overall numbers and engagement. On the B2B2C, obviously the conversations with businesses have stalled or have slowed down. So we have kind of reinvented the B2B2C as far as the product is concerned, where we are, instead of doing a top-down sales approach, which is taking time now because the meetings are not happening, we are doing a bottom-up onboarding of the users within community. So let's say, Vijay, you live in an apartment, you can download the IamHere app and join your apartment community. And if the community doesn't exist, you can put in a request to be created, and then you can join a company, college, right? So it's a completely bottom-up onboarding that we have kickstarted with a freemium model.
Awesome, super awesome, super awesome. Really nice, Naren. We have Akshay who wants to ask you a question, so I'm just going to take him on.
Hey, sure, Akshay.
Yeah. No, it's a blinder. We don't know what he's going to ask you, so.
Hey, Akshay, hello.
Yeah, Akshay, you're live. Akshay, you can talk now. Oh, he went offline. I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Naren, see, it is not an easy world. And you have, how big is your team right now, Naren?
So we are about 7-8 people.
You're 7-8 people, right? So has there been, during this last 5-6 months, has there been some challenges that you have been facing, keeping the team going, remote collaboration? So how do you manage that situation? What are the productivity tools that you use? How do you manage though you have all the experience in the world, this is a very different kind of situation. So how does it work?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, now as we are talking, while all of us were sitting out of NASCOM together, like say 3-4 months back, today we are literally across the country. 3 of us are in Bangalore, one of them is in Hyderabad, one is in Mumbai, one is in Shimoga, one is in West Bengal. Right, that's the kind of spread we have today. Some of them are juniors as well. In fact, we just hired a fresher, and then we couldn't actually onboard him face to face. So we do these. So initially we tried a lot of stuff. Hey, can we do a daily stand-up, this and that? Now the stand-up is literally happening on a WhatsApp chat, right? And we are using Skype for our weekly or twice in a week. We do a video call with screen sharing and all that. And we have a spreadsheet to track. Now we are actually parallelly exploring a few tools for these tracking. And we thought, okay, hey, why not try out some startups out there? So there is a tool called Trooper, which is a startup, which has kind of automated the stand-up and the project collaboration. So we are using Trooper for certain things. For records and stuff, we are trying to dabbling between Skype and Teams, Microsoft Teams as well. So we are kind of trying out a lot of options. Now the two things that have worked for us are the Skype calls and the WhatsApp chats are there, and then this Trooper plus Teams kind of combination. Right, and of course, Google Spreadsheet is anyway there at
of course.
Right? So we're kind of doing multiple things. Probably in a time we'll probably aggregate everything into one platform.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, Jagat also was saying that so much of traction is happening for Vidphone as well. It's a useful tool. And what really also makes me happy is that Indian founders and technology folks, innovators like you and Jagat and all these guys, you all are trying to make a lot of beautiful products which can solve India's challenges and India's problems or whatever.
Right. So earlier, for example, Vidphone, I had joined as a participant. This is the first time I'm doing as a presenter, and I'm seeing the quality is amazing.
Yeah, quality is pretty good, man. It's
a few months back now, this quality of the video that I'm seeing here, I mean, it's not granular. There's no grains, and the brightness is pretty good. Yeah.
They've been working hard, Akhil and Jagat. So
happy
to see that, and it's
and the fact that you don't have to. I don't know if there is any other platform out there where you can just click a link and start listening. Right? You don't
very easy. Secure. They don't ask too many questions.
Right.
Yeah. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty cool. So maybe you can check it out also later on. Okay?
Right.
Naren, now we'll come to, you have one more video to play, isn't it?
So yeah. So let me just do that as
first, and then
that will just tell our users that's just a 60-second demo of.
Yes. No, you must show. Because I don't see, this is what I want to emphasize also, right? Having these kind of product demos and all helps. Because if you can't do face-to-face meeting, you got to have digital tools to showcase what you do. screen share first, Naren, and then
Just share.
and the audience can click on that, and it will go full screen, and then we can watch the 60-second video. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is just a 60-second clip of our demo.
Play.
Yes, so we are that hyper-local social network connecting people in the neighborhood and within communities for business, hobby, and social causes.
Awesome. So one more thing, Naren, who did this for you? Who made the music? Did you do it in-house, or you got someone to do it? How did you do? How did you go about creating all this?
Yes, so for the video, we have an in-house designer, and sometimes we collaborate with consultants, etc. This was actually made by an external consultant found through the network, of course. I'm sure maybe that person is on tie and right. And music is from the internet, some free library. Okay. But yeah, video is something that we either do through our in-house designer or we just outsource it to one of our partners.
Yeah, understood. So basically, it's not too very difficult, and I think why I'm trying to bring this out is, see, for the founders and entrepreneurs and everyone, it is critical that you should take these easy to use tools, build it, get something out there, because unless we keep doing that, people will forget us, right? I mean, you must be having competition as well, Naren. Who do you take on? I mean, who are the big folks or small folks that you have to tackle with to grow? I mean, beyond Bangalore, or from 200,000 to say 500,000.
Sure.
How does it work in terms of competition? What is your differentiation? What is your moat? All this, hardcore technical questions I would love to have you answer.
Sure. So globally, there are only two players who are doing something similar to what we are doing. You may have known about Nextdoor in the US, right? They are connecting. They are like our apartment adda apna complex, my gate, with a social collaboration aspect, right? Where people can come together within their closed neighborhoods, right? And as of a couple of years back, they have also opened up the neighborhood businesses for transactions, for ads, and all that. Then similarly, we have a company called Nebanon in the European market, where they are trying to do this for the open neighborhood, where they're trying to bring in people for hobbies and interests and even a little bit of NGO stuff. Now, what we are doing is kind of bridged both the private and the public communities together, right? So in the IamHere app, you can collaborate with somebody across your street or in your society, or it could even be colleagues working in the same company, doing carpooling together, or playing a basketball game together, right? So we are kind of brought together the public and the private communities together. We are the only platform across the world that is doing this, number one. And we are the only platform that is offering a map-based discovery of people by hobbies, by interests, and by profession, right? And the whole collaboration is built through a layer of privacy and anonymity, because in the neighborhood, in the hyperlocal segment, like for example, on Facebook, you're telling your name and it's in your friend circle, right? And LinkedIn, photo in your professional circle. But in the neighborhood, in the hyperlocal environment, security, privacy, anonymity is very critical. So we have given that freedom to our users to choose the level of privacy and anonymity they want. So I could say I am in number 12, 5th Main, 4th Cross, Indiranagar, or I can just say I'm in Indiranagar, or I can just say I'm in Bangalore, right? I choose the level of my location. And the phone numbers are hidden. Of course, you're free to choose disclose that on your one-on-one chat, but we have multiple such levels. So these are the ways we have kind of differentiated and carving out our own niche and trying to move forward. Because the only thing that we are looking at is the problem that people are facing, right? I mean, public community, private community, AI, ML, hyperlocal are all our terminologies. Users just want to connect in their communities, in their neighborhood, in their hyperlocal, in their local environment, and that is what we are looking at.
Okay, fantastic. So a couple of things for you, Naren. See, one is GDPR compliance, all this is important, but at the same time, ad revenue also plays an important role for your survival or growth or whatever it is, right? So how do you make sure that you stay on the right side of the legal part of it and the compliance part of it, but at the same time still figure out ways to 200,000 users is not small. So how do you still want to make money from this? How does the game play out in that?
Okay, sure. So in terms of the security, of course, the GDPR complaint kind of, we have taken all the inspirations from there in terms of, hey, how do you store your user information? And if a user deletes, how fast can you delete it? Right? How much do you show, not show? All those have been taken care. And we have gone through a complete legal review in terms of our terms and conditions, what kind of information we can expose to other users, all those kinds of stuff to our partner networks, right? So that has been taken care. We have done a complete security audit also of our platform, and that's an ongoing process as well, right? Which kind of deep dives into the front end, into the back end, into the communication technologies, etc. Right? In terms of revenues, we have kickstarted our subscription revenues, which is the B2B2C side, and our marketplace ad-based revenue, transaction-based revenue for our B2C. Right? So now both of these are going in parallel. Right now, we know that on the B2C side, the ad-based revenue for it to reach the scale, it's going to take that time. Let's say 2 to 3 years, maybe 1 million, 2 million kind of users, when we will start clocking month over month, day over day kind of ad revenues. So coming from the business background and being through the trouble of being as part of the founding team in another startup earlier, we kind of figured out, or we kind of learned to live without investor money. Right? And investor money comes, you grow from there, you scale from there, but you sustain with your own business. So that is where the B2B2C is helping us with the sustenance, the subscription, because B2B2C is a revenue model from day one. Mm-hmm. So the subscription is giving us the sustenance, and the ad revenue is building towards the scale.
Fantastic, fantastic. So making profits, having money coming in is something that you guys are focused on from day one, isn't it?
Right. I mean, it's there in the plan from day one. It is there in our vision from day one, and then we are slowly activating them one by one. Like 1 year back, we didn't. Maybe 9 months back, we didn't have subscription. We were completely neighborhood, and then now when we had 1 lakh users, that's when we activated some of these models. And transactions is something that we are going to be enabling next month. Right. So the whole payment, everything can go through the app.
Fantastic, fantastic. So what are the tools that you'll have to kind of enable on your platform to get this payments thing done? Just to ask you.
So today it's much easier. We have people like Razorpay, Paytm, right? We have these payment gateways. You don't have to create anything from scratch, right? And Razorpay, for example, is pretty quick. I mean, they just give you can be up and running in a week's time. Right. Similarly, Paytm as well. Right. So you just have to integrate with these platforms and choose the best and continue to run with it. Okay. Now there are different models, like let's say an Uber kind of a model where the amount payment goes to a central platform and then gets distributed. Right. It's an aggregated model, or it could be even a P2P kind of a transaction, a Google Pay kind of network where it just goes directly and there's a transaction charge just comes to you. Right. There are a lot of models that are available out there in the market.
Of course, and startups must explore all this ease of the digital transformation, ease of payment gateway building. So it's amazing, right? The kind of work I think InstaMojo, Razorpay, Paytm, right. They've done so much of work to bring this.
One thing that startup founders should understand is there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Right? If there is a map technology out there, go just use that. They have a library. If there's a payment technology out there, go integrate with their SDK. If there is a coupon infrastructure, go integrate with that, right? So that you can focus on your core. Like for example, IamHere's core is the user base, right? Who are coming together for one-on-one collaboration, or to collaborate within groups, or to interact with these businesses, NGOs, and events. For events, for example, we have integrated with Events High. We are exploring partnership with Meetup. So all their events are onto our platform, and they are happy because we are additional source of traffic for them. Right? We are google.com for them, for the neighbor. And we are happy because we have trusted source of information to show to our users, who are happy because they have additional verified information to use. So that's the kind of ecosystem model that we have also focused right from day one, I would say, where we were clear. I would say we are still not clear in certain aspects. That's a very evolving journey. But in certain aspects where we have evolved is, hey, what is our core that we are going to solve? And what is the thing that we are going to look up to our ecosystem, and what are the things that we are going to just plug and play with ready-made SDKs and libraries.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think what you're saying is so brilliant, right? I mean, I think, for example, Vidphone is using, I think YouTube is where they're showcasing this session as well. So it's a larger and wider audience. Plus, it's a proof that we are talking together and we are sharing so much of insights and information.
Right.
Fantastic, Naren. I really like what you're saying, right? Understand SDKs, understand integrations, build partnerships, collaborations. How good are you in negotiations and sales, Naren? How is that muscle being built for you?
So yeah, I mean, we still are poor in our marketing and communications, right? But we are learning, right? We are getting better every day, right? So we today run our ad. We are running our ad campaigns at pretty much cheapest or the what do you say, most frugal
Of course,
mechanisms,
of
right?
course.
Of course, we are using Facebook, we are using Google. We are and a good thing for us is for the last 6 to 9 months or so, 50% of our acquisition has been happening through word of mouth.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Right? And another 25% is where we spend our time, money, and energy on our marketing campaigns.
Correct.
And another 25% is through our B2B2C model,
Okay.
right? It is just through this community model,
Mhm.
right? So literally 50% is coming for free, and another 25% is coming through a bottom-up onboarding. Now, thanks to COVID, we had to reinvent that business model or a GTM strategy, and another 25% is where we spend our time, money, and energy, right? So that is something that we have learned. Now, in terms of our sales, yes, we have one person who's taking care of our digital marketing activities, and then there's me, and then we have partners for that as well, right? Because at a startup, we want to be nimble, we
Yeah.
want to be trying. There are people, companies, individuals, consultants who are strong with, for example, let's say apartment communities, right? There are a few companies that are strong in college communities, some in the B2B company corporate community. So we are partnering with all of them and have worked out a joint revenue share kind of model so that we can still be this 10-member team till a Series A, Series B kind of funding. I mean, inspiration is there. WhatsApp was a 30-member company when it was bought by Facebook for 18 billion, 19 billion, right? If it can be done in the US, why not in India?
Very, very nice. And I'm just taking Jagat online. Naren.
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, Jagat,
Hi,
Hey, Jagat,
Vijay.
how are
how are
you?
you? Yes, yes.
Hi, Naveen. Good
Right.
to have you.
So both of you are in a blue, funky mood today. Yeah, looks like almost. Nice, nice. But you know something, guys, I'll tell you this, okay? You're Vidphone man and you're I am here man. Next time we guys are talking or meeting, whatever, I want to see beautiful branding t-shirts from you guys, okay?
Right.
Huh? Right?
We
So,
do have promote this brand called New Balance. They
New
don't do.
Balance. I'm paying you, Jagat.
No, we'll do a bit more.
Yeah, no, think about that. Hey,
No,
but
the thing is, my wife is a fashion designer,
okay.
and I need to run it by her.
Ah,
And right now we're in like logistics,
yes, yes,
part.
yes. I know. And you're a
So
young
we need to
father.
sit down, and she won't let me wear just like a normal blue shirt with
Oh,
it would just be too cliche. She would be like, "This is not good." So shout out to her as well.
Wife is a
And
fashion designer. I guess she should be on IamHere if she's looking for business and customers.
right now, she knows that she's a full-time mom, at least for the momentary period. So,
good, good.
but yeah, I will get her to register, and I'm here for sure. I think she can start her fashion design consulting. Sure.
Yeah, and both of you guys, I know because at NASCOM we used to catch up, we used to say hello to each other, have cup of coffees, lunches together. Jagat, some nice feedback that came in from Naren about Vidphone. That's amazing, and also very beautiful insights he gave about sales, negotiations, using different partners, local collaborations. So, how's your journey going on, Jagat? And maybe some notes comparison can happen right now.
Oh yes, I think fantastic. Naren, I think we are friends from NASCOM, and I think there is a certain energy which you see. NASCOM, there are a lot of people. Shout out to NASCOM, they're a fantastic organization. What they're doing, obviously, but everyone in NASCOM, if you ask all the incubatees, maybe not everyone's had the same kind of experience, right? There will be some who say, "Oh, it's not that useful," some that is useful, but end of the day. When I think the like-minded people, we kind of huddle sometimes, right? And Naren, definitely, we started some small WhatsApp group and got some conversations going. I think, in fact, very, very special that he's doing this because when I started in 2010, on very similar lines, it was called Every Crave, the whole thing, social commerce platform, 2010. But of course, that was pre-mobile, so it's impossible to do it on web. We had Stack Overflow for those who were developing stuff. It's like a go-to for everything. So we wanted that kind of thing. Of course, there's a social. In fact, the line was a network where you're connected by social profiles, social networks, interests, and location. So that was the so-called elevator pitch, right? And something
Right.
there. So very, very. I think now the time is right. back then then I realized in 2012 when I decided to move towards digital agency business and towards digital transformation of large customers. Now I think the time is right, because both social has come together and commerce has come together. So now they were disproportionate, and advertising. See, when we talk about this, is a very wonderful topic, because we look at both now. We're doing Google and Facebook ads, for example. Every startup, and most of us depend on these are our go-to options. There's no other option. You have to go here. And an alternative thing to that is what we are doing, for example, for startups itself, right? Like us, is word of mouth, and how can we incentivize people and other networks to kind of spread the word, right? And a lot of that spend that is going to our ad spends comes towards this social goodwill and spends there. So, and in fact, my neighbor also, we were discussing about badminton, because he likes badminton. He wanted to join one of the courts today. I think badminton has become very common. So I told him, you should check out IamHere. I think they have something. I'm not going to have, but I just told him. Golf, I think a lot of places, I think you have extremely, wonderful opportunities going further. Yeah.
And Jagat, how are you? See, you are also Indian founder working on growth, and Naren was also sharing some of the various tools that they're trying to use. And there are ups and downs, challenges are there. What do you think that? No, I mean, one thing that I'm very keen on understanding, right? You all know each other. You all are trying to collaborate. You are trying to see what you all can do. How can you all grow, spread the word, help each other out, etc. Right? So let's do an impromptu masterclass right here. Okay. How do you think founders? See, I think 200 founders are there in the last few years that are there at NASSCOM, correct? At TIE, Naren, you are a member, and Jagat, we have been collaborating on so many things. There are hundreds of founders out there. Just that energy, right? And that's where people like Silicon Valley, Israel, and so many other, Singapore, all these kind of ecosystems are doing crazy amount of stuff. They are just coming together and making things happen for each other. So what's missing, or is it there, but somehow we're not able to be coordinated better? And what can we do about it? Think about that. I mean, is there some thoughts you can come out with?
Naren, if you want to go first.
Jagat, unfair, huh? You put him on spot.
Just joking. You the guest, so I think it's important.
Sure.
I want to learn first.
Okay, so what I would, if I was just summarize the answer in one line, and then I'll go a little deep and then pass it on to Jagat, is pretty similar to what Jagat was saying. I mean, 2010, he had started. At that time, there were technology restrictions, right, for him to have implemented that idea, right? Maybe even till 2013, 14, right? And for us to be even doing this in 2019, 2020, thanks to Google Maps, for example, right? I mean, people know how to use map-based interfaces in the last 3 to 4 years, right? So the technology space has reached a certain level, and in terms of the infrastructure also, right? We have gone far now, right? Like the payment gateway example, the cloud storage, right? Or chat SDK, video SDKs, right? I mean, Vidphone, I'm sure, is going to come up with an SDK kind of platform where apps like us.
It's an alpha. We have it. Live also. Users can use it. Actually, it's like though it's not perfect, we are working on it, but it's available.
Right. So that is the technology barrier is kind of now, I would say, that barrier has been crossed. The infrastructure is there. Where we are probably on the way to cross is the investment barrier as well, right? Yes, there are certain very risky investments that our VC community is doing, but I think that maturity in terms of the market, right, is still there, right? I mean, you can't blame the investors as well, right? They need to see that acquisition mechanism. They need to see those exit options, right? They need to have that ecosystem now with this Flipkart, the white hat deal, etc. Right? This is only going upwards from here. So I would expect that in another 2 to 3 years, that investment barrier is also crossed for startups, and real founders out there who are solving real world problems have already started getting funding. Now I think they will get it even more, right? So with the technology barrier cross, with the infrastructure barrier cross, and also with the investment barrier cross, I think it is just about the ecosystem coming together now and helping each other out.
Interesting. Jagat?
Absolutely. I mean, look, what I would say is, I would always believe that Indians, we are doing a fantastic job. No, we cannot take that out. Because Valley is run by Indians today. You can say that almost Microsoft, Google. I'm sure there are very top executives at Facebook. Apple, I'm sure, has some. So there is no doubt that Indians are very, very smart, and those who are homegrown here those who have probably not lived a long time, let's say in the US on contract, from their companies, IT service companies, etc. They've really seen the consumer grow. For example, the whole concept of on-demand did not exist before 2012, 13, after Android and things came in. You could not really click something and get it because you had to shut your laptop and open it and wait real issues. You didn't have notifications. So there were huge challenges. And for us to even build out a simple web application, you had to actually go and configure the settings files, and you had to, bring everything together. There was no bootstrap. You can't put together buttons. We spent days and days, figuring out buttons, gradients. It's like guys today who are building it don't even have to think about this stuff, right? It's like, so things have changed a lot. Of course, technology keeps growing, and that's why we, for example, a few years ago when I decided that we're going to focus on video, it's really important. We brought in a lot of that knowledge, and we were doing, for example, web, and we had the options. Most people were doing PHP for those who are into programming. PHP was really common, or you had Ruby on Rails, kind of frameworks. But we bet on Django back in 2010. Python I thought was great for us and to kind of move forward. Then we moved to Cordova and hybrid apps in 2012-13. So it was quite early. But still we took the decision there that we go hybrid because of the obvious things that are going forward, right? I didn't want closed ecosystems, first of all. We don't need to support it. We think world economies are bad. This is our view. Or rather, I'd say it's my personal view. It may not be the companies with, our team may kind of disagree with some of those things, but I really believe that it has the platforms you use really define how you grow as a company. And when you're a tech company, it's all about those people in your team and how they are growing, right? It's not about, and many times that knowledge gets compounded, you feel. Like you may keep doing something or learning something for a while, and then the last 20% will give you a lot of those insights that you were struggling for that 80%. You never got it. So that way, I think the ecosystem has matured phenomenally. We have had consumers. We have the largest mobile market today. I think India's largest population in the world. I think we've beaten China. We have, I think, over 1.4 now. So in the graph, I think we are now the largest population in the world beyond China. If I would probably make that statement, you can check it out. So we are the largest. And today, digital banking is available. It's ready. And so when we look at these things, I'm extremely optimistic about the next 5 years. Like this COVID thing, while in terms of health, it's been a very bad thing. This digital transformation is what the ecosystem was talking about for 10 years, to be honest with you. And we've had the privilege of working with some of the largest companies in the world, some of the largest organizations over the past 10 years, different levels. But apart from that, this is much needed.
Who was responsible for the digital transformation of our company? CEO, CTO, COVID.
Chief COVID officer.
Yeah.
Or rather, the risk officer becomes very important. Like, hey, where was this guy? Who's this guy? Risk officer. What if something unexpected happens? Do we have the systems to sustain it? Yeah. And you can't just blame it saying that it happened globally and we also are like going down with everybody going down. That's when you're supposed to be a little better and not go down, at least stay straight, right? If not go up. So I think with IamHere also, definitely, we haven't explored real opportunities, to be honest. We've not had detailed discussions, but of course there are synergies. And I think, as they want to do connectivity and connect people. And our goal is to provide those seamless connections in terms of video and other rich media. Today,
I think,
for example,
right time for us to discuss what we did, I think 6 months back when you were still working on this platform. At that time, you didn't have the SDK. Now I'm sure you're already starting to work on SDK. We have already started evaluating video SDKs. And if you are having an SDK, more than happy to explore that. We can connect our tech teams and get Vidphone on IamHere.
Definitely. And we'll co-create it. We're also in the process of building it. So, we have quite a few users. We don't take any specific user's name as such because I don't like to give preference to one of our customers over the other. We want to be flat in terms of our, the response to customers. But what we'll do is coming week, we'll connect and we'll loop in it. You can try it out and see how it works.
Let's do that.
Superb. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Jagat. Thank you so much for coming online. And you also take care. Okay. And much appreciated here. So I'm happy that you guys are talking business. Was business.
No, I think that's just one word, which I
sure. Please, Jagat.
I think he was mentioning about Atmanirbhar and the Chinese that are boycotting. I think we're all Indian entrepreneurs. I want to just emphasize on that. I think at this time, this is a very important time for India, and not just in terms of yes, it's COVID and we got to save lives. Yes, that's happening probably at some level. The best effort. There can be better efforts always, but I think it's time that we're seeing this big transition, this big flip in every walk of life, right? And it gives India the opportunity in the next 5 years to really take the initiative. And when we look at, for example, the US, I was talking about this last time, and I think it applies. You look at the largest four, five companies, they account for, I would say, 20-30% of the GDP. I don't know the exact numbers, but probably something like that, right? Together, they may be about $6-7 trillion, and US GDP about $20 trillion, something like that. It's probably about 30%. And India, who are our top 10 companies on Sensex or on the Nifty, right? And it's very different. And that has to change. Yeah, of course, it cannot, I wouldn't take a name, but it cannot be one large so-called monolithic company, which knows nothing actually about technology. So it cannot be, it would be a shame.
You don't know which company you are referring to.
Maybe it could be this company. I don't know. But really, it should not happen, because we want technology to be, have sanctity there and have ethics and have trust. These are very important in the new digital economy, because today with antitrust in the US, even while the companies in the US have done a wonderful job at user interface, design, selling, and all of these product stuff, I think they're really wanting at trust, security, privacy, and these issues. In India, we're a culture where we respect this privacy and the way we live our lives. And that I think is very important. It will define how actually the next 5 years turn out. And I believe there is a good probability that we might come out as the largest economy on the planet. The highest GDP in the world is possible in the next 5 years in India. I'm bullish on this. And I hope it happens. It depends on LxS and the extended ecosystem. It's really up to us, right?
To that, yeah, why not?
Cheers to that. Yeah. I mean, see, it's also about us, our behavior, how we come together, how we collaborate and partner. Otherwise, it's not possible. I mean, it'll just be another talk. But let's come together, and I think lots of things are possible. But thanks, Jagat, and take care of yourself also. Look after yourself in terms of growing, in terms of adding more employment and providing solutions to all the fantastic startup founders in India. Take care, man. Cheers.
Cheers. Looking forward.
Yeah. Take care.
Correct. Thanks.
Hey, thanks again.
Yeah. Hey, so nice, Naren. So you guys have to now figure out how to work together to make $1 trillion economy coming out of this, is it? No, why not? It's possible. Huh? I mean, if the like-minded people come together, nothing can stop us. Okay. And I really liked what you said, right? You're staying bootstrapped. You're not trying to play around with investors' money. You know that you need to generate hardcore, genuine cash flows from your business. And This is something which is true for 99.9% of all founders, right? Only 0.1 maybe or 1% of startups of 3 to 5 years or whatever get funding. Don't get funding. Okay. Right. So beautiful, inspirational talks. So Naren, we are 45 minutes almost into the conversation. So I don't want to take up more than 5-10 minutes more. But what do you foresee as the growth opportunities? I mean, you're in Bangalore now, and you are wanting to grow from, say, 200,000 users to 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, whatever. And that's when real numbers and real, interest will be generated. You want to go beyond Bangalore. But what are the challenges you foresee? What is the support that you might require, or partnerships that you might want to foster with other entrepreneurs or ecosystems? Okay, and how's the game plan going on? How's your playbook looking?
Okay, sure. So now our immediate roadmap over the next 9 to 12 months is that we want to take this 2 to 5 lakh users in Bangalore, while we are creating this 2.5 lakh users in 10 more cities, right? So literally you can look at we just want to replicate what we have done in Bangalore, or what we are doing in Bangalore across 10 cities by probably next year. And then our 5-year target is to reach 100 million users with about 50 million revenues, right? So this financial year, we will be crossing 1 million users, and then 10 million from there, 30 million, 100 million. That's the kind of roadmap that we are looking at. Right now, in terms of our approach, in terms of a challenge, we have kind of factored most of those into our product and into our GTM strategy. What I mean by that is the first 10,000 users that we had on the app, we went to the field. I was on the field onboarding users. Our team was there, and of course, we had a few interns at that time as well. But the remaining 1.9 lakh users, we never had any field presence. Today, as we are talking, we are doing pilots in Mumbai, Delhi, and a couple of tier 2 cities as well, Mysore, Coimbatore, Cochin, etc. We don't have field presence there, but we already have about 50,000 users from these cities, right? So that way, our go-to-market strategy is kind of digital. And with this new community model coming in, where we are having a bottom-up approaching of these communities, people can start creating their own groups. Like you create a WhatsApp group or Facebook group, you can create your community on IamHere for your apartment, where instead of 10 different WhatsApp groups, let's say you are part of some layout, part of some apartment, I'm sure you have like 5 different WhatsApp groups.
Yes.
Now you can unify all of that into one single IamHere community where you will have multiple circles to interact.
Okay.
Circle, there'll be a hobby circle, there could be an admin circle, there could be a sports circle, right? You can define that, but it's just one place that you go, right? And at the same time, your badminton player would be in your society, could be in, if you're in Prestige, it could be in nearby Monthly, it could be in the nearby layout across the street, right? So this becomes that single point interaction for all things hyperlocal or neighborhood, for either person-to-person connection or person-to-business kind of connection, right? I mean, look at the irony, right? Look at it, right? Today, if you're looking for shoes, you will probably log on to Amazon and know that Nike is offering 20% discount. But if your neighborhood Nike store is giving a 25% discount, you don't know that unless you walked into that store.
Yeah.
Your grocery store may be giving a 20% discount on vegetables, right? You wouldn't know that, right? Your Dosa Joint would be giving a free door delivery, right? But you never had his phone number.
Yeah.
Right? So we are trying to obfuscate this whole thing where that Dosa Joint, that grocery store, this Nike store will be on the IamHere app, and we would be giving them that visibility.
Nice.
Kind of a bottom-up stuff, right? User up boarding.
And they need this help, right? The restaurants and retailers, especially after 6 months of horrible to almost no business, they need people like you to help them to grow.
Right, and we don't want to step into the realm of, let's say, Swiggy or Uber or Housejoy or Urban Cloud, right? They are doing their own services beautifully, right? What we are doing is a P2P connection, right, in the neighborhood.
Fantastic. Naren, but I want to ask you one question here, right? I mean, and this is something that is a little bit personal and close to my heart, okay? Okay, you're 8 people now, but how can you be hiring another 25 people or 30 people in the next 1 year and still stay profitable? And what is the reason for that? What kind of people will you be hiring? Because, we say it's all digital and in logistics and this, they say we'll use robotics, we'll use AI, we'll use this. But when jobs are required also, Naren, so what does one do for that?
Sure. So in our 12-month plan, by end of middle of next year, we will be about 25-30 member team, of which 20 will be tech team, right? Combination of front end, back end, and UI UX designers with the product. Then 5 into the marketing and sales, and remaining 5 into operations, etc. Right. So that is now. This year probably will be crossing about 100K kind of revenues. Right now, with that, we will kind of be able to build, let's say, a 10 to 15 member team. But VC funding is what will enable us to reach the next level of growth, where we can hire 30 people, 40 people, 50 people, etc. Right? But that is very much in the cards. I think we are taking all the right steps. We would have it, and we are actually, in terms of the employment, let's say this 30, 40, 50 member team are on our payrolls. We are envisioning a partnership model where we are going to be having these champions or our partners across the country. I mean, imagine this, right? Let's say Bangalore has 200 wards, right? Imagine an IamHere champion in each of these wards with whom we do a revenue share.
Okay.
Right? Similarly, there are about 20,000 PIN codes across the country, right? Where we'll be having these IamHere champions with whom we'll be doing a revenue share. That's the kind of employment opportunity we are looking at. Okay. Right? Where in every PIN code, in every ward across the country, we have these partners of IamHere who are taking care of that ward, that PIN code, and then we are doing a revenue share, right? That's huge. That is going to be huge, right? In every village, every taluk, every tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 city, right? That is the kind of indirect employment we are looking to generate and help the community.
Fantastic, of course, and you help the local businesses to grow. They themselves will hire more people, so it's an indirect effect also that's going to be
right.
Brilliant. So, Naren, how do you build your own skills? How do you learn? You're a technology person, you've worked with this thing, but you need to learn new skills all the time. It could be a sales cap, a marketing cap, a technology cap, a HR manager cap, or whatever it is, right? So how do you keep yourself going?
Yes, there are these odd digital courses that they do. There are these videos, right? I mean, it's not like 21 or 2-hour session videos, TED Talks, etc. Then there are these networks, like TIE is a beautiful example. There's another startup community called Bulletproof Your Startup, BYS.
Okay.
Where they are kind of offering courses, training, and mentorships and all that. Right? There are a couple of consultants, like we are part of a community called Zeolite, which has started by, I think, 25-year-old industry veterans. 3 people have started that. So we are kind of in touch with some of these people with whom we periodically review. And of course, we have beautiful mentors in the form of Subra, who is head of products at Vizuri, now heading a company called Lemnis. Bhaskar, who's the founding team of Redbus. We have somebody called Thiru, who's technical architect in HP, right? So we kind of leverage, and I personally look at all of these people. And many times we have a digital marketing person, for example, who's literally out of college. He had 1 to 2 years of experience from Munich. I learn a lot from him, right? And of course, in the NASCOM community as well. So the learning never ends, right? I mean, when we were born or when we were in college, we didn't have a mobile phone or a smartphone. Facebook is like, 10-year-old now, right? So we have to learn from the new kids, right? They will definitely teach us a lot. So learning is an ongoing process, and there are these networks that I tap onto to stay updated.
Beautiful, man. Naren, that's so energizing, right? I mean, and learning never stops, isn't it? That's what you're trying to.
Learning never stops, and it doesn't matter from whom you learn from, as long as the learning is there.
Yeah. So true, so very true. Awesome. So what are the books that you read? I mean, any favorite books, favorite authors, anyone that you...
I used to read a lot of books earlier. Now it's mostly all digital.
Okay.
Right? Books, you have that one book, but the advantage with digital is, hey, you don't understand this, now you go to this, right? And then you don't understand something there, you can click on this. Right? I mean, just to give an example, right? I'm, as much as I'm business and I'm a capitalistic person, there is also the spiritual side of me, right? So I have read, for example, 3 different versions of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
And the latest version that I read was a digital book.
Okay.
Right? Because on the book, for example, hey, who's that person? And then you have to search on the book, but you just do a Google search, you know that, that person was the king Shantanu, right?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So I was actually reading, Naren, like see, Wikipedia is there, and Google is there, and much before that there was Encyclopedia Britannica, right? Those big books. Right. I still have some of those. But that I'm old, so what to do. But that's all not required anymore. You just have Google, so you can actually exponentially grow your knowledge base. You have on tap.
There is Quora. I mean, Quora is a beautiful.
Yeah, Quora is very nice. Yeah.
Short replies of 5 lines if you want to just get a quick answer, and you have a big essay written by an expert out there if you have the time and commitment to go through it. Right. So Quora, Wikipedia, some TED Talks. Such stuff are there, right? And some of these TRI conferences that you do where we get to meet real people, right? People. Right, and your story kind of platforms are doing
very good stuff. They do great stuff. Do I see a whiteboard behind you? But Naren, is it a whiteboard behind you?
Yeah, so this is where we started. I am here, room in our house where I had this board set up, a few computer chairs, etc. Before we started at 91 Springboard as a 3-member team, then moved to NASCOM as a 10-member team, 7-8-member team. Right. So so this is my workplace today. I've come back to the drawing room.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Awesome. Super awesome. Hey, listen, Naren, I know I've taken up an hour of your time, plus we had a nice, beautiful dry run. Don't stop playing music, and we're going to catch you sometime soon for a guitar session and a music session. Why not? A jamming session.
Hey, Jeff, and Akshay or somebody had a question. Probably if you want to shout there.
Yeah, he's not put it out, buddy. So maybe he'll just get in touch with you. Do one thing. Put your LinkedIn profile and your it's on the chat. It's going to be captured on video as well. So how can people get in touch with you? You can do that. Yeah, just put it on the chat. Anything that you want to put out here, and Naren, it's been great. And as you're doing that, any parting words, some insights to all the fantastic founders and entrepreneurs all over who are trying to do so much for us. What's going on for them? Which you can add some insights for them.
Yes, definitely. One thing that I would probably tell, and that I've learned it myself, is there's nothing like too early or too late, right? I mean, if you are looking to start up, yes, there is a sweet spot always, right? I mean, my personal sweet spot for entrepreneurship, I would say is 30 to 35, but some people say it is 25 to 30, some people say it is 40 to 45, right? And there are great startups that have been started by founders who are like 50-year-olds. There have been great startups that have been started by people who are 20-year-olds, right? So it basically depends on what you want to do, right? And it is easier said than done, right? I mean, I don't know, Vijay, you are there at your age. Have you figured out what you want to do in my life? I don't know, right? Can you be truthful to and say, hey, I know this is what I want to do in my life?
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know.
What is the purpose in your life? That's a spiritual question, right? So it's an ongoing process, right? So nothing is too late, nothing is too early, right? If you have the dream and if you feel you have that fire in you to start something, why not? Right? There is this universe that will conspire. There is an ecosystem that will support. There is a Vijayta, there is a Naren, there is a Vidphone, there is an IamHere, there is a Facebook or Google that will help you do what you want to do. Their entrepreneurial journey didn't have the tailwind to support them. Some of them had it, some of them didn't. Some of them, in fact, had the headwind against them, but they have succeeded against all those odds. Right? So if you have that dream, if you have that fire, go start it. Right? And it doesn't matter you are a VP in a company, in an MNC at 40-year-old, come back. Right? Start from zero again. If you are a college, you are still at the same zero. Right? So entrepreneurship is a great leveler.
Yeah, it is.
Market is not going to adopt your product just because you are from IIT, you are from BIT, you are from IIM, you are from ISP. Market is not going to adopt your product just because you got funded from Sequoia or Axel. Market is going to adopt because your product is good and anybody can create a good product.
Awesome, super awesome, Naren. That's nice. I'm going to, why I'm going to remember this? Today at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be addressing some students. Right?
Oh, okay.
Early stage entrepreneurs. So
sure.
I'll share some of these insights with them as well. I'll do that.
Sure.
So Naren, I really appreciate this conversation, my friend. We must stay in touch. There is so much more that we should be doing and talking about and bringing more people together. Okay. Anytime you feel there are some founders who might need some support, mentoring, and Ty, of course, we help our members to whatever we can do for them, right? Networking, a lot of international sessions. Today we're doing something on agri-tech where we are showcasing 5 startups. And we've also got people from AgroStar. We've got people from, Prashant Prakash from Axel Partners is moderating the panel, by the way. So he's going to be there as well. So, and this is free, obviously free for all time members, etc. And we keep it frugal for others to join in. So that it's about networking. It's about helping people out, sharing knowledge. And, you should not stop also doing this, Naren, because I know you're running an organization. It's not easy.
Sure, pull me in, Vijayta. Anywhere I can contribute, pull me in. Just give me a message or impromptu. It's fine. If I'm free, I'll definitely join.
Correct. Because you mentioned that you're part of communities, so I will touch base with you one-on-one. I want to know about these communities. Can I also be part of some of these folks? And together, can we do more and more for this? Because very honestly, we need 100 more Reliance companies in India.
Agree.
We need another 10,000 or maybe 1 million more entrepreneurs like you, Naren. Because
sure, absolutely. Yeah, Jagat, anybody else is just one tip of not a tip of the iceberg. Right? We have to build the iceberg together now.
Yeah. Because only unless another 1 million odd companies get started and each one maybe employs even 10, 15 people. And and then still not enough, by the way. That's still not enough because India, they say that the unemployment rate is running into 100 million or whatever right now. And that's like scary, isn't it? So it's a responsibility, it's a privilege. It's also something that we can do a lot together. So with those words, and thank you so much, Naren. Any parting words for the community, something that's close to your heart? And then we can, call it a day. And thank you.
Follow your heart.
Nice. Super nice. Hey, thanks, man. Enjoyed this conversation. Beautiful hours spent with you, Naren. And take care of yourself also now. All right.
Thanks.
And be well, my friend. Take care. Cheers.
Okay, everybody.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.